People start showing up here now. Takes a few minutes usually for, I don't know why the chat's been slow down last 2 times.
No. Have you had issues when uploading videos to YouTube that processing is taking ages?
Boy, sometimes it does, yes.
I've been waiting for 3
I've had
days now.
hours. Really? Days? Wow. I've definitely had hours where it took hours.
Yeah, that's normal, but there's a problem right now, so sucks.
I wonder if they less servers or something. There's a couple people popping in.
Could you post the link in the chat we have with Paul? Because then I can post it in my Discord too.
Oh, yes. Let's do that. Let's see here. I don't know why the chat is being grumpy again. Two out of 3 connected. What does that mean? Oh, interesting. Okay. So the Restream IO wasn't connected to everybody. That was interesting. Okay. There are 17 people watching. We haven't seen anything in chat. I'm sure everybody's saying hi. There we go. All right, Chris Janis and Will and Matheson. How's it going? All right, no, we don't want to watch. It's gonna have to do this. Oh, this is always so smooth. First time every time. Okay, I want the link.
Yeah, it hasn't showed up on YouTube yet.
So awesome. I wonder if YouTube is having some troubles. Things are just delayed, like they usually are not. So, like, why do I not get my... Right now, there's that. I just want the link. That's all I want. Shouldn't be that hard. There we go. Jeez. Okay. All right. Yes, I am live. See, thank you. You might want to check your bandwidth priority. I have issues with both YouTube and Twitch. Oh, okay. In my router, Frank? Is that what you mean? Okay. There you go.
Yes, thank you. At everyone, and live.
Everybody should have that. Okay, it's already there. Sorry. Thank you, Frank. Okay. Frank knew I was looking for the link, so he put it in Discord. Thank you, friend. Okay, so how's everybody doing? Happy Sunday. Keeps buffering for you. Let me get back to doing this. This should all be done. This is what, like when Frank does his, he puts on the little disco music and stuff for a few minutes. He's probably doing all this stuff to make sure it's all working. It's again one of those things better not done live that we decide to do live sometimes. Okay. General. This gives everybody a minute to arrive.
Yep.
Advanced Windows privacy.
I guess we should check if they can hear me.
Can everybody hear Quinn? Say something again.
Hi there. I'm Quindor.
Everybody hear Quindor? All right. Priority.
Oh, Will's getting ready to order some boards. Nice.
Oh, perfect.
Hold on that, Will, because there's still the OG version, and we're going to talk about the new versions. So
hold your orders.
Started using NX Witness at work after seeing it on your channel. Cool. Thanks, Rustin. I'm working on some new videos in that regard, so...
Come on. This device is just, this computer is just not showing up on my list of devices, which is obviously not right because I'm on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, how we doing, everybody? We having any issues? Oh, we got dropped. Wow, we get dropping a bunch. Is it still dropping? Maybe we're okay now. 66% dropped frames. Jeez. Just buffered again.
How's your CPU?
Let's see. What is it saying? Let's see. %. Yep.
Oh,
Streamlabs is using 9.
That should be just fine.
It's all Chrome. You know what it is? It's probably this. It's the chat thing.
Yeah, but 40% shouldn't cause any issues.
Should still be fine.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see if we got any new drops. Yeah, we're still dropping. Dang.
I'm gonna drop a link to my channel real quick.
Time for a green screen setup, somebody says. For you. Yeah, we're pretty excited to have Quindor here. Who is Quinn? We'll let him tell you here in just a second, Chris. Still lagging.
Oh, okay.
Video dropping all the time. I don't know what to do. Some suggestions. Yeah, still crappy. Dang it. Let's see. No, we don't want that. Wonder if I can just, if maybe one less video. Can I be just audio? Huh. We worked on this yesterday. We got it so nice. We're all happy that Quindor's image looks good and audio all looks good. Guess we didn't plan on breaking the internet. Chris says, okay, drop frame 0. I'm showing drop frames. I'm showing 9,854 and counting.
Yeah. He's not getting any drop frames to him, but your upload is getting drop frames. So what is your upload speed?
Let's go check. Let's check it right now. Oh, I can check it on here. It should be good. Network check. Well, in the meantime, since we're here, more buffering. Golly. It's running okay on Twitch. Time to kick the kids off the Wi-Fi. Yeah, for sure. Well, for those of you who don't know Quindor yet, he is an LED master. I think that's fair to say. Definitely an LED master. Master of if you've searched on the internet or just YouTube in general for dimmable LEDs or any dimmable light stuff, you probably found a link to something that Quindor has done. He's done some pretty cool stuff when it comes to dimming and controlling LEDs. I've got 5.6 upload and 252 down.
It could be our video link then. If you check in the Jitsi Meet and click on the camera, stop your camera on your side.
Oh yeah.
And so you're not uploading to me now. So let's see if that works better.
Still dropping a few. Yeah, disable my vid queen. That's what we just did, Matheson. Yep. All right. Well, we're going to have to move on probably to, let's see, it seems to be more stable now.
I'll introduce myself real quick then. I'm Quindor from Intermittent Technology and QuinLED.info. About 4 to 5 years ago, we started to build a house, and I was looking into lighting systems, and I basically wanted to have all lights controllable and dimmable. And I looked at Philips Hue and other stuff that was available, like Z-Wave, Fibaro, and stuff like that. And it was like thousands and thousands of euros. I'm in the Netherlands. So I looked into designing it myself, or rather, is there any DIY solution that can do this using, at that time, domotics? And there wasn't really any boards out there that could do that well. So I started testing, and I built some prototypes, and it evolved and evolved. And currently, most of the house's lights are run using these boards. And I decided to put it on the internet, and well, that got the ball rolling.
And when was it that you started doing like a video or something about it? When did you do
I
that?
think 2016, because I first published it on my intermit.tech blog, so just text posts. And around 2016, I started my YouTube channel, and so I started doing videos about it and stuff like that too.
Awesome. I think we have improved our video quality.
Cool.
It might not be perfect, but I think we have improved our video quality somewhat. So very good. So Quindor has been designing his own boards. How many different boards have you done? How many different dimming boards have you done? Or LED
in
controllers?
2016, I released the last version of the QuinLED OG, as I call it. So original one. It was a 2-channel board based on the ESP-8266, and it had about 6 or 7 revisions before that. And last year, I released the QuinLED Quad and the QuinLED Deca. I have one of those here. So let me show you real quick. So this is a 10-channel board based on the ESP32, and it has several advantages over the original design, like having GPIO pins that you can use for like sensors or switches. And it has a very high PWM frequency, so you can use it for video recording and stuff like that. And like a lot more channels. So yeah.
So with 10 channels, you can have 10 different strings of LEDs.
It depends on what you use it for. You can have 10 different LED strips that you can control separately, or you can have, it's all about channels. So a single warm white LED strip is 1 channel.
Right.
But then an RGB LED strip is 3 channels. And if you go RGBW, you're using 4 channels. And if you go RGB plus CCT, so you can set the warmth of white, then you're using 5 channels. So the Quad has 4 channels, so you can use either 4 individual ones or go up to RGBW. And then the Deca has 10 channels, so you can run 10 independent multiple RGB, or at maximum 2 RGB plus CCT strips. So it's very flexible.
What's CCT? Tell me what CCT is. I don't know what that is.
Basically it's color temperature control. So you have cold white LEDs in there and warm white LEDs.
Okay.
And you get a slider where you can just choose the color of light you like.
Awesome. Okay, so show them some examples. Show them some examples.
Let's see if this works.
Here goes the buffering again. We just got it worked out, and now we're gonna buffer the crap out of things again.
Okay, this is my face. Toggle. Okay.
There's the phone. All right.
Yeah, so I think you need to select it.
I got it. I'm gonna make it bigger, and I'm gonna make myself smaller.
So I have some example lights over here. So this is an RGB pop LED garden light, as they call it. And this is a normal downlight you like put in your ceiling in your house. Here's some QuinLED Decas connected to those. And then over here is a QuinLED Quad, so that has 4 channels. And then here I have an outdoor light. So if I move this to my screen real quick. I have, for instance, a button for the indoor light. And then if you look in Home Assistant, you just get the normal slider. So let's turn it down a little bit. Move to the
Yeah,
light.
you're gonna want to turn it down.
So now you can see it's light up. I've lit up, and I can adjust the slider and change the brightness. And of course, you can use this in automations and stuff like that. So let's do another quick example. That's with this one. I can turn it on real quick. Oh, that's way too bright. Yeah, so this one has a row of red, green, and blue LEDs. So if I go into that, I can just say, okay, go to blue. I can say, go to green. And any color mixed you'd like, just using Home Assistant. So I can select like a purplish color. Yeah, I know there's a little bit of echo.
It's okay.
That's because I'm using the phone thing. And then you can see it mixes colors, and I can set the brightness, and yeah. So there's a variety of lights you can control using, well, this giant bundle of wires. I can turn on the garden light, outdoor light. Oh, make sure
So
that.
you finally switched from Domots to Home Assistant, huh?
For the new board, let me kill this tree. Okay, there. That got rid of the echo. Yeah, for the new boards, I've focused on Home Assistant. So I'm using ESPHome and ESPHome YAML, and you've been talking about that for the last few weeks, so that's cool. But I've been using that as control software because it supports the ESP32.
Mm-hmm. And that's how I got. So I have the quad here, thanks to Paul, and that's what we set it up with was the ESPHome. So we'll walk through that.
Yeah.
So a couple people have asked about 2812s, and we talked about that last night. So tell them what you got in store for us for 2812s.
Okay. Well, I can
programmable
show you that on a normal
LEDs.
webcam. So these boards I released in 2018, and you can find all the components you need and how to build them, and video guides and soldering guides and programming guides and everything you'd like on QuinLED.info. You can order the PCBs, you can order the components, and build them yourself, program them yourself, and then integrate them in your setup. And for 2019, and I've already sent a prototype to Paul. I'm working on these two. Let's see if that picks up.
Oh,
this is the QuinLED Dig series, so digital. This is the Dig Uno. It has basically one output channel, so you can use WS2812Bs or APA 102s, which uses 4 wires and stuff like that. And this one is a bit higher end version. This has 6 digital output channels, or times 4 channel output terminals. So you can control multiple addressable RGB strips.
That is so cool. So now you probably kind of said this, but to explain it for everybody, what you do is you've designed these boards. You designed the circuit boards and what components they need, and what you have available for everybody is the plans, right? You're not selling the boards. You're not selling them all assembled or anything. It's just this is what you need to do if you want one of these boards. So here's like if you wanted to do the quad, you can go to the website
what
here.
I did is this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I made these board. This is the digital series, which will be released in 2019. I'm still testing those and stuff like that. And these small ones are the quads, and this bigger one is the Deca. And I released this PCB. You can order it at Dirty PCBs, and I made guides for all the. Oh, you have the website though. Yep. I've made guides for all the components and videos on how to solder it together and how to program it and stuff like that. So everyone can do it themselves.
So tell me for the non-electrical engineer guy here, what components are you using, and tell me a little about like how difficult. Let's try and get this on a scale of difficulty for somebody. You know, how
Okay,
hard is
well,
it going to be? Because there's probably going to be some people. I would look at this and go, yeah, that looks like fun, and because I'm not afraid to
yeah.
break it. Right, I'm not afraid
Well,
to get some
I
solder in the
said
wrong
this.
place or something. But tell us about the assembly of it.
Yeah, I made this specifically like the original QuinLED to be, well, as I call it, DIY friendly, because it could be made compactor and smaller and a lot harder to solder, basically. So I use a lot of through hole instead of surface mount, um, basically to make it as easy as a project as possible for people to pick up. Um, Components are cheap because, well, as always, we buy everything in China. So even if you start to build this and you screw up some boards or you screw up some components or you have to start over, it's not that big a deal. You wasted a few cents or maybe $1. So if you have some soldering experience, I think this should be very doable. And if not, maybe you can learn it with it. I tried to lay out everything so it's easy to solder and to understand.
And it looks like I like your guide. So here's like a hardware. This is the quad, I believe, right? Yes, this is the quad. So you
Yeah,
got your hardware all laid out here, and these are what they are, and you've got links to everything, so you make it easy to
yeah.
find. And a lot of this stuff, I think you said this before, and we've all, if we've bought parts, experienced this. When you buy these, you don't often get to buy just one, anyways. You know, you may only
No,
want
yeah.
to build one
Most
board, but you're
places,
gonna end up buying a pack of 5 or 10 of some of these
yeah,
components, anyways.
yeah, exactly.
Right?
The most expensive thing is the ESP itself. It's like $6 or $7.
This
But all
guy.
the other components are like 20 cents for a terminal, or like a cent for a resistor, or maybe half a buck for a MOSFET or something like that.
Right. And that's really what it, I mean, so it comes down to MOSFETs
Yeah,
and maybe some diodes and some resistors,
yeah.
and that's about it. And then I was looking just now at you have a soldering guide. Do you even say like do this first and then do this and then do this so that you don't get in your own way,
I,
maybe? You know, like
the
don't paint
soldering
yourself in
guides
a
right now.
corner?
Oh, sorry. The soldering guides right now are just videos, but it's mostly a 12 or 15-minute video where I basically solder one in a video, and I show you exactly what to do and how to do it. And I talk
Awesome.
and give some tips and stuff like that.
Awesome. I'm excited. I need to build one. So somebody asked MQTT. Tell us about MQTT, X lights, some of those kinds of questions. So
Yeah, so
controlling them.
it uses ESP-Home YAML, and that used to be MQTT only. So yes, it works with MQTT, but it also now works with the native API integration. So you can use native Home Assistant API or MQTT and Node-RED and everything you really want. And since it's basically a hardware board with an ESP32 on it, if you have different firmware you'd like to use, which is ESP32 compatible, like let's say Tasmota becomes ESP32 compatible instead of just the ESP8266, you could use that. So yeah,
And
it's
if you were
basically
brave and
open.
good with those things and you wanted to write your own, you write your own.
Yeah. Yeah, you just write some Arduino code and you're off.
So let me show what I did the other day. It's password time. Everybody get your screenshots ready. so we set this up, Paul and I, the other night. Let me find where's my home YAML thing on here? Oh, I don't think I have it as a sidebar thing yet. Okay, so this is my quad right here, and so I'll show you what what my simple setup looks like. I know Frank said something in one of his messages the other day, or maybe it was something on Twitter or something, that he had a ESP-Home YAML entity here, like this, a node that had like 900 lines in it. That's insane. I don't know what you're doing.
Wow.
That was crazy. But anyways, this is all it is. Let's see. Oh, good. I did hide my passwords. Darn, sorry. Oh, this is my API password. I guess you get that now. But anyways, this is it. So there's a component type for the Quin boards, QuinLED 4 right here. So this is, I'm guessing the 4 is because it's the quad.
Yep.
Is that right? Okay, and it's ESP32 is the platform. And the board, this is the board that I have. So this is just the model, the specific model of the ESP32 dev board on mine.
Yeah.
So there's a list of these, and
the specific model is important because not
okay.
all dev boards. I'll show dev board real quick. Not all dev boards have the same pinout on the back. So I specify which one to use, but there's lots of others which have the same form factor and are compatible. But try to use the one I specify because not all have the same pinout. So yeah.
Okay, very good. But that's it. Like, it was pretty simple. So let's see. Well, this is some of the basic stuff, getting that set up. So we had to put. This has a this. It's the board that had the ESP32 board that has the temperature sensor. Or did you put that temperature sensor? Is that part of what's on the quad?
No, the temperature sensor is on the QuinLED board.
Okay, so on the QuinLED board, there's a Dallas temperature sensor here, which is like the what's the model number for those? It's 1820, 18X20 or 18E20 or something, right?
Oh, yeah,
something like that. But they're good. They're very good, very sensitive sensors. So it's a good sensitive temperature sensor.
I'm not sure you want to use it for. I put it on there for like I had space and for fun, and you can solder it on or not. It works fine without. But I also did it if you really run a lot of current through it, because the quad is specified up to I believe 300 watts, and the Deca can go up to 600 watts. The board will heat up because of all the current. And I was like, let's put a temperature sensor on there and measure the temperature. So
that's right. So it always is good to have. I mean, imagine the less risk or the less problems we would have if like every Sonoff board had a temperature sensor on it.
Exactly. Yeah,
right?
And that's also why if you look at the Deca, this one, it has a few wires sticking out. So there's GPIO pins there and 5 volt, 3.3 volt and ground connections. And then on this side, there's more terminals, which also has GPIOs on it. So if you'd like to have a temperature sensor or a humidity sensor or a motion detection or a switch or whatever else uses a GPIO pin, you can just use the same board if that's in the vicinity and connect it to Home Assistant using ESPHome YAML, and yeah, it works.
So it would be great to have these. I mean, you could put this. I'm starting to realize that the location right next to the door in every house pretty much is a great little sort of mini hub location where you can do things like have a motion sensor and the light switch and whatever.
I can't really show you right now, but I also designed the house we built, or most of the electrical system at least. So I have a lot of blind plates on every or next to light switches, and there's a 24 volt ring on each level, which ends up in those blind plates. So I have 24 volts available in an empty wall socket.
Yeah, that's smart. That's what happens when you're a good engineer and you build your own house. So somebody's asking here.
I had a lot of influence on the plans. Let's just say that.
Right. Yeah, I bet. So Salty's asking about SK6812 compatible with the digital board.
Anything fast LED can do, which also runs on the ESP32 now, and actually in ESPHome YAML if you want, it can control, no problem.
So big picture here, this is the marriage of controlling LEDs, ESP32, and ESPHome. I mean that's the backbone of all of this. So that's all great. That's all stuff we're using.
Dimming your LEDs or lights, you have the GPIOs for switches and other stuff you'd like to do.
So there's some things here we took out, but again, I just wanted to point out how simple this was. So this was the output. This was to the LEDs. We're running them at 40,000 hertz as far as the PWM. So I'll turn these on in a minute too, but the transitions are so smooth. It looks so nice. You don't even notice sometimes how bad a bad dimmer looks until you see a good dimmer.
And the transitions are configurable. So if you want to make it last 1 second from set value to other set value, or make it last 10 seconds from set value to other set value, you can just configure that.
Yeah, and I have this one set to 2. So I have this one set to 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And I don't have, this is just a single, what is this for? Oh, there's the Dallas temperature sensor. Again, that's an address thing you need. But so then these were just other options, but it's a really short, really simple ESPHome YAML node. I mean, really simple. So, and then I wanted to talk about something specific for me that I went through when I was trying to set this up. I had the problem initially with ESPHome. This isn't anything to do with the Quinboard. This is more about if you're running a virtual machine and you're trying to use ESPHome. Because when I did my live stream setting up the ESPHome stuff before, one of the issues that I had was that my virtual machine, which is where Home Assistant's running, it looked like it had access to the USB ports, but it didn't. So yeah, so briefly, just for those of you who might be running the same thing I am, maybe because I told you to, let me clarify this. This is the part of the show where Justin corrects his mistakes from the past. How about that? Okay, so let me just show this here. Let's see. Can you see that? I'm gonna not try and block Quindor here. Okay, so when you get to this part, if you're doing a virtual machine and you've got this, you've got to go down here and right click on this USB, and then you've got to, when you've plugged in your whatever board you're trying to use, whatever board you're trying to upload ESPHome YAML to, if you want it to show up the first time and not have to do what I did before, which was compile the binary and upload it using Flash Easy or whatever else. And if you don't want to do that, you want to do it directly the way it was intended from that ESPHome user interface, you need to go here, find the board that's connected. Mine's not connected now, but find the board that's connected and select it. And then you'll see this guy blinking some green lights. Then it's connected and you'll see it show up here as online. I didn't do that before. Oh, and that reminded me. Paul wanted me to challenge others. So these are all the things I have connected to my, actually I took 2 of them off, but Paul said, I don't think anybody else has as many things connected to USB. Maybe they do, but I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Plus I had at the time I had a Wi-Fi dongle and a Bluetooth dongle all connected to USB on this one computer. That's probably a bad idea. I think you're going to run into some problems eventually if you do all that. But anyways, we had a good laugh about that. But that's it. And then using ESPHome, oh, so easy. And the fact that it can use the API, I mean, there could come a day, not too long from now, maybe by the end of this year, where there's going to be some of us that'll be running almost completely, or you could run completely Home Assistant with ESPHome and no MQTT broker. There might be some other things you'd use it for, but you wouldn't necessarily have to. You could do almost everything with ESPHome now. Anyways, that's pretty cool. Bad idea. Somebody said bad idea. Come to Docker.
What I do, just a different way of doing it, I install ESPHome YAML on my desktop computer, and I just write a very simple YAML file for configuring it, just basically the name and the API connection. And then I serial flash it using my desktop computer, then upload that configuration file to the ESPHome YAML on the HAS.io instance, and which also runs in a VM for me. And then they can talk because it's online, and you can do the rest of the config from there.
Yeah. Also, you just put a basic one on through serial, and then you just configure it. Oh, that's smart too. That's smart too. I was really excited with, Paul Morley helped me get this figured out. I was really excited because that was kind of a pain. It was kind of a pain to have to try, and especially when it was an ESP32, because it's different to try and upload a binary file to an ESP32 than just to an 8266. And I can do the 8266 in my sleep, but the 32 was giving me troubles. So I had to do it a little differently here, but we got it working. So it was good. Let's see. What is everybody asking here? Is that your Discord that keeps beeping? Oh, sorry. Probably is my Discord that keeps beeping. Would that work for Node-RED? Somebody says. How about Node-RED? Good question. What do you
Yeah,
think?
well, ESPHome YAML can use MQTT. So once you have MQTT connected, you can just use Node-RED. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's what Paul
So
does. So
so you still would use, who was asking that question? Ative, Thrative.
yeah, kind of.
Anyways, you would use ESPHome to put your sketch on your board, on your ESP32 board, and then you could control it with Node-RED if that was your
Yeah,
platform of choice.
yeah, no problem.
Awesome. I'm still not clear why all the additional components are necessary. I don't mean that in a bad way, sure. But why can't you just do an ESP32 to connect a power supply to the LEDs? Oh, go ahead, Quinn, you can explain that. I'm sure you've gone through that.
Well,
Why do you need something like the MOSFET?
yeah, so MOSFET is basically a gate which can be triggered using a low voltage and can then let through a higher voltage. So let's say you have 12 volt or 24 volt, as I recommend LED strips, and your microcontroller GPIO pin only has 3.3 volts. So you want to send a PWM signal to that LED strip to be able to dim it. Yeah, you use a MOSFET in between, which has a source that's 24 volt, a drain that's also 24 volt, and then a gate pin. And that gate pin is connected to the controller, and that's what's generating the PWM, which allows you to dim the LED strip.
And another part of that too, that Salty, is on a GPIO pin, you can only get some small number of milliamps of current
Yeah,
through there
very
before
small.
you destroy something. And
Yeah.
when you're going to run, a long strip of LEDs, you're going to run several amps potentially
Yeah.
through that. So you can't run several amps off of one GPIO pin. It'll just boom. It'll let the magic smoke out and all those fun things. So
Yeah.
so what you have to do, just like Quindor said, you have to have a high voltage side and a low voltage side that are linked. And that's what the MOSFET does. That's why you need the extra components. That's why you need Quindor's boards, is because that takes the logic at a small voltage and small current from a GPIO pin on the 32. And as that adjusts and changes the voltage just in tiny bits and tiny amounts of current, then the MOSFET translates that to higher voltages and allows a lot more current through. So then you can run a whole long string of LEDs that can get super bright and hot and all that stuff, and you're not going to melt your ESP32. So that's why you need this.
And if we're talking digital LED strip, because this is all what's called analog LED strip. So like a single light or a LED strip of one color, or maybe if it has 3 channels like red, green, and blue, but still the whole strip will become one color. You need to use a MOSFET. And if we're talking addressable LED strip, where all the LED strip can become, or all the LEDs on the strip can become something else, so you can make patterns and rainbows and stuff like that, you need the digital controllers. And you can hook those up directly to an ESP like this. That in theory works. But the problem is that these send out 3.3 volts, and all the digital LED strips on the market expect 5 volts. And sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't work, sometimes it half works. So that's why I'm designing the digital boards. Let me show you one.
You don't have anything on the digital boards on your websites yet, do you?
They're there, but they're not available yet. So this is a digital board, so it has some capacitors to keep up the voltage basically, and then it has a logic level shifter, which makes the 3.3 volt signal into 5 volts for the LED strip.
So we've had
although
that,
you can hook them up directly, it's kind of iffy.
Yeah, we've had that discussion several times because I've been lucky, and even though I have logic level shifters and I've tried them, but in all the LEDs that I've used so far, which isn't that many, but maybe 6 or 7, node MCUs or something running some strips, I've been okay. My logic hasn't had a problem, but I've also had this much wire maybe between the control board and the first pin or the first LED, so there's not really it's okay. It's been okay, but a lot of people have had a lot of trouble with that. And so one of the things that Quindor is including on that digital board is that logic level shifter, so that
Yeah.
it will be there and it will work every time. There won't be a question of, well, do I need the logic level shifter? Do I not? Why am I getting these funky results? It will just be, it's a board with the right components that is made to do those kinds of light controls. So pretty cool.
Yeah. BK Hobby, that's actually the type I'm using. So
All right. And tell them about the hertz, because you were telling me how high you could go with the PWMs.
So one of the reasons I created the new, I always create stuff when I have a need. And in this case, the need is I'm building a new desk. I'm calling it my ultimate overkill desk project. It's kind of on hold right now, but that's a whole different deal. And I wanted to integrate a lot of LEDs in there. And the original QuinLED only had 2 channels, but I needed about 16 channels. So I would have needed 8 boards, which is, well, that's kind of insane. So I just started designing the Deca, which has 10 channels, which can be used for, like if you want to do stair lighting and you want to be able to control each step individually, you could use a Deca for that. And then you could make a program which can do the fading up and the fading down the stairs, for instance, and stuff like that. So
that's awesome.
That's why I started designing the Deca. But since I do YouTube, normal LED dimmers, which use PWM, dim at around 100 to 200 hertz. And although our eyes mostly can't see that, if you're sensitive to it, you can still see it flicker. A camera sensor definitely can. It will see that immediately. It comes across with these bars going across the screen. You see it in a lot of other YouTube videos, which use normal dimmers, and if you then dim it, you see those bars because of the PWM values. So I wanted to eliminate that. So instead of 100 to 200 hertz, QuinLED OG already uses 1000 hertz. So for humans, that's perfect. We can never see that. But the new boards, I mostly run them like the one behind me and all around me. I run them at 40,000 hertz, but I've tested them up to 300,000 hertz, and that works fine. And well, if you can see 300,000 hertz flickering, well, I'd like to meet you.
Yeah, then you're a superhero of some kind. You put your power to good use in the universe somewhere.
Yeah, so, exactly. So even using slow motion or higher shutter settings or stuff like that, even with 1,000 of a shutter, it still gets past the sensor 40 times in that time. Even your camera won't see it anymore. So
yeah,
now you can dim your lights.
Yeah. Again, like I said, when looking at a normal dimmer, you think, okay, yeah, it's nice, it's dimming. And even like watching my D1 Mini controlled 2812 lights dim. Mm-hmm. You just think, okay, they're dimming. That's nice. When you watch these dim at 40,000 hertz, it's gorgeous. Like I don't know what this is. Just something about it you just go, wow, that looks really cool.
Yeah, it's very smooth.
So with the Deca, okay, so you talked about the Deca. Look at DrZzs, he's loving this. I am loving this. I'm actually quite excited about this whole thing. So when he was talking about the stairs, I'm picturing like the Michael Jackson sidewalk from Billie Jean, where you step on the stairs and it goes. And then when somebody else asked the question I wanted to answer, it was the advantage of using ESPHome over Tasmota. The biggest thing right now, Dorth, for this particular thing is that Quin's boards, the newer boards, are all designed to use the ESP32, and so the ESPHome is already set up. Where Tasmota, there's I think there's a port or whatever you want to call it for ESP32, and they may be doing some things for it, and that'd be fine, and you could use that. But there's some specific components already in ESPHome ready to use for Quindor's boards and ESP32 ready to go. So it's just I think as far as evolution for this particular kind of project, ESPHome is ahead of Tasmota for sure. So in this way, ESPHome is the way to go for sure.
Yeah, and if you like different firmware and it's available for the ESP32, that'll work just fine too. Or as you said, if you want to write your own code, sure.
Yeah. And Rodrigo made a good point. And I remember Rob talking about this in his video about dimmers 6 months or 8 months ago or something like that, that there is the ESP32s can do the PWMs at levels that the 32 or sorry that the 8266 just cannot do. It's just
the
not
OG
possible.
was an 8266, and that's why it's limited to 1000 hertz. And there's some tricks out there which can do software PWM instead of hardware, but when you then even start a ping to your dimmer, your lights will flicker, and I never found that a good solution. But the ESP32 can do it all in hardware, and it does a very good job.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous. Let's pull mine up again real quick. Let me open my thing here. Well, the other thing that I learned from Quindor is the real difference in the quality of LEDs. All LED strips are not created equal, right?
Right.
So if you go to Aliexpress and you buy, like I typically do, guilty, okay, the cheapest possible strip of LEDs, you're getting what you pay for. And I didn't realize the difference until I looked at this strip that Paul sent me that has just this gorgeous strip. It's just a small strip of these. Let's see if I can do this without yanking anything, without disconnecting anything. So this is the strip of LEDs, and they're just white. Oh, I disconnected it. Look at that. But that's okay. Remember I said I was going to solder this last night? I didn't.
Well, you had stuff to do.
I did. All right, so I'm going to go in here to my. It's set up so that I can turn it on and off, but I haven't put it into my UI anywhere yet, so I just have to find it here. There we go. Okay. So I turned it on. Oh, you can probably already see. I wish I could show it to you. I can't really show it.
Cameras don't pick it up that well.
No, it's not going to be. Oh my gosh. Like look at, and this is at 50%. I just want to let me do this just for fun. Oh, I'm going to get a sunburn. Isn't that cool? I'm on fire. Zoom. So anyways, there's your test example.
Yeah. Even that short little strip will basically blind you.
Oh, it's super bright. It's super bright. It looks gorgeous.
And the thing is, using this webcam, you really can't see it. But if you watch my other videos, all my lighting is done with those kinds of strips. So I linked an article I wrote about the color white. And that's also a difference. Warm white LEDs shouldn't just look yellow, because then you basically have yellow LEDs. Warm white is something else, and it has to do with Kelvin levels and CRI, and CRI is your color rendering index, and that makes a very big difference in basically an object that the light hits and then reflects back, and that's what your camera records. And if your CRI is very low, you can't use it for video work, or if you use it in your kitchen, you'll be baking your meat for hours because the red colors are off, and you think it's never going to be done. And these LEDs you got a sample of, they're high CRI as they call them, and high wattage, and you can use them for video work and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, there's a big difference. There's a big difference. I'm excited to do a better job. And somebody asked, Arno says something about any tips on what to look for when shopping for LEDs on AliExpress in order to get decent quality.
Look at my articles, and they should explain some stuff there.
So he's got the two. Let's see. Now I only have one of your sites open now. The other one was just QuinLED, right?
Yeah, well, it's all on QuinLED.info, but one is called the color white and CRI/RA. Let me just link it again.
Yeah. Okay. So Quinn's got tons of material here for you to go through. And
yeah, the website isn't just about my dimmers. I started because of that, but often I get a lot of questions, and I think like, okay, I can answer this question 15,000 times, or I can just like write an article about it, and then
Wait.
yeah.
Are you telling me I'm doing it wrong? Because
No, no, no,
I
no.
answer the
You
same
make
question
videos.
over and over and over again. Because I only know the answer to one question, so it's easy for me. When I hear that one question, I'm like, oh yeah, I can answer that 50 times. And all the other questions I send to somebody else. That's about how it goes. How is the price on that LED strip that I have? So I don't know, Paul. What was this?
Kind
What
of
was the price on this?
So one of the things I'd like to highlight now, a lot of people are
Yes.
watching, is most of the time when people think about LED strip, they think about 12-volt LED strip. But I'd really like to propagate or propaganda or whatever 24-volt LED strip, because if you have like a 5 meters, or how many feet is that?
16.
16 feet. Yeah, thanks. LED strip, and you inject 12-volt on one side. Hold on. Yeah, you inject 12-volt on one side. On the other side, that voltage or current basically will have to travel all the way through that strip. And because the copper traces, especially in cheap strip, is very thin, the voltage will drop while it's traveling because of the resistance. It's a bit technical, but you have to believe me on that. And if you
I know a guy
instead of
did a
using,
video about that. Sorry.
yeah, that's okay. If you instead of using 12-volt, use 24-volt, and you have a 1.5-volt drop, the total percentage of the drop is a lot less than with the 12-volt, because so you'll have less of a voltage drop using higher voltage strip. That's also why we have high voltage current lines running all around the country and stuff like that. So you need less copper to transfer the same amount of current. So yeah, if you're designing a new setup, look at 24 volts.
And Mate Joe says, what about injecting both ends? Yeah, you can do that. And if you go back, so I learned, the dumb way, right? I learned by just trying it and going, wow, that didn't work. Trying it again. So when I put the lights up on my house, I used 5-volt lights. And what I found later, and this is what I was joking. I just said I know a guy made a video. I did a video comparing 5-volt lights with 12-volt lights, and of the kind that I use, which are the 2812s, and they're about 3 inches apart. Each one is about 3 inches apart. So you only get like 50 LEDs on a 5-meter string. And what I found was at 5 volts, you got to the end of one string just fine. By the end of the second string, you were starting to see some dimming already. So you pretty much had to inject a new source of 5 volts that hadn't gone through the LEDs. It could just still come from the same power supply, but you had to inject new 5 volts along the way to boost it back up so that you could still get 5 volts at the beginning of every string. And so I have it with all my LEDs that are around my house. I've got all these LEDs, and then I've got a parallel pair of wires running just 5 volts and tapping in at several points. I mean, that's fine, and you might save a few bucks doing that, but you'd certainly spend a lot more time, just twisting all those wires together and stuff, and you're just introducing more points of failure. What I found with 12 volts was that you could do about 20 to 25 meters. So maybe 5 of those strips before you started getting dimming. I would expect then with 24 volts, you could probably go, twice that far before you start seeing any dimming.
Yeah, basically what I always say is with 24 volts, you can go 2.5 meters. That's like half of a normal strip, especially cheap strip, without having it drop noticeably. And if you do the whole strip, the whole 5 meters, especially at 12 volt, you'll see a drop. I just linked the wiring diagram
awesome.
for the QuinLED quad, in which I also have some diagrams there explaining how you can dual feed it, so inject it on both sides, or what's actually most of the time easier and cheaper, if you don't mind some soldering, you can middle feed it. Because if you middle feed it, each side will be 2.5 meters instead of feeding it on this side and doing 5 meters. So
why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, there's some stuff to think about. If you do larger installations, But
I
up
guess
to
if you're
2.5
if you're
meters, I
doing,
just single feed it on one side, but I use pretty high end strip. So yeah.
yeah, and that's important to distinguish between doing digitally controlled lights and analog controlled lights. So
Yeah.
the 2812 individually programmable LEDs, you can't, well, you can middle feed power, but you can't middle feed the data. You've got to feed the data in a direction. But the lights, most of the lights that Quindor's talking about are analog lights. So your lights, it can change colors if you have the RGBW or WWs, but they're all the same color through the whole thing. And
Yeah.
they don't have the digital signal control
Digital's
that has a
later.
direction to it.
We'll
But
do
yeah,
another light.
that's a great point. Middle feed it, right?
Yeah.
And Paul says the Quinboards can take 12 or 24 volts without having to change anything on the board.
Actually,
you've got a good
I'll have
voltage
to make a
regulator.
comment on that because
Okay.
if you do the down lights and the garden light and stuff like that I showed, the quad officially goes up to 28 volts, but I've run it up to 35 volts without issue. And the Deca can go up to 50 volts. So if you use cob LEDs, you often use different voltages than 12 or 24. And the QuinLED auto regulates that. So if you set the voltage regulator that's on the board once, if you then change it from 12 to 24 to 48 or 36 or 32 or whatever you might need, that auto corrects itself on the board for the ESP32. And it always sends the input voltage to the output ports. So you can use it for, as I said, it's a very flexible controller.
I'm scrolling through chat here just to see if I were missing any good questions. Paul's doing a great job. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah,
Paul's kind of if there's something that comes up that is extra good, he's feeding it to us separately as well because it's hard to follow.
I've been using Paul as my guinea pig, so I've been sending him test boards. He's been doing a great job. He's really helpful. So,
wait, what do you mean, John? What do you mean? He said soldering properly. He said soldering.
I said, well, I'm Dutch,
No.
so I'm from Europe.
You guys say we America, we speak the worst language in the world. We are so bad. It's so bad. I'm surprised anybody understands anything we say. There was something else I was thinking of, but now I can't remember what it was. So,
well, there's so many different subjects surrounding LEDs and strips and lights, and yeah,
definitely. But what you've done has been fantastic and very useful, very helpful to a lot of people I know. So we appreciate it, and everything that Quindor uses in his lights and in his on the boards and all that, he's done a really nice job on his websites, and I put them in the description of this video so that they should be there already. If you missed them as we've posted them in chat, they should be right at the top of the description in the video of both of his websites. And he's got great guides on exactly what you need to do, how to do it. Things are explained super well. And then he does videos. Lately, a lot of your videos have been just about a lot of other things. I was noticing when I was looking at your
my
playlist.
channel is about a few things. One of the things is QuinLEDs and everything to do with LED lighting. And then I like doing computer builds, server builds, stuff like that. I do a lot of stuff with IP cameras, and I test those, and what else? It's basically my how do you call that? See, now I'm stuck in the English language. If I research something, I kind of like to aggregate, like we talked about yesterday. I kind of like to aggregate that and then get that information out there for other people so they can use it too. And that's basically what I use my blog and the QuinLED.info and my YouTube channel and stuff like that. So people can follow along and hopefully learn from it, do it themselves, or have a fun time watching it. And yeah,
that's right. We live in a wonderful time where we can. We've got so many things that we can get interested in and have fun learning about and playing with. And then we've got all these different ways to get that information to other people for their fun, for our fun, for educating each other, etc. So it's an amazing time to be alive. Arter says, is there a way to call and ask a question? You can ask a question right now.
Yeah.
If you missed it on, was it Christmas Day or no? It was the last You missed my phone number. I gave out my phone number on a
You
stream a while back. I don't plan on doing that again, but I did at one point. So you could probably pay one of these guys enough to give it to you. But no, ask your question now, Archer. That's what we're here for. I got another at least probably 15, 20 minutes. We can just hang out and chat. We've got Quindor here. We can talk about LEDs more if we want, or we can talk about anything else you'd like to bring up. It's fine. This is an open forum at this point. I'll start up the sticker. Giveaway thing here in a minute too. Extra pins on the side to control other things if needed, motion button, etc. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Paul wanted you to talk about the extra pins. Oh, he did. I think he did mention some, but say it again.
Yeah, I've sorry about that. So on the Deca, oh wait, I don't have my screen open. Yeah, on the Deca, there's 2 types of pins you can use. Here you can use the DuPont cables, which are connected below the ESP module, but the ESP module is on a kind of socket, so you can actually remove it, just program it and stuff like that, and then put it back in. Let me put it back in. Well, and here you can see the DuPont connections, and then the Deca has even more GPIO pins on this side. So the blue terminals you see over there, those can also be used for GPIO and 3.3 volts and 5 volts. And then the quad, but I kind of have the quad hooked up, so maybe you can show it. The quad has GPIO pins on the side. So it has 2 GPIOs exposed.
All right, I'm going to disconnect.
Anything you want, temperature sensors, a button, a switch, a rotary dial, a light sensor, a motion sensor, anything you want to do.
Those 6 pins there, you can see those 6 pins right there are extra GPIO pins that go directly to the ESP32. So because I'm running ESPHome on this, any component that I find in ESPHome that I want to use from an ESP32, I can connect to those pins. Anything at all. So it's open switches, other sensors, you name it. It's ready to go. So Quindor is very good in cameras too. Next time to talk about that. Ooh, that's a great idea. I'm on the verge of doing more stuff with cameras. I'm really excited about. I've got now 3 Raspberry Pi Zeros and the version 2 module cameras to use, and I think that may be my holy grail of cameras. What do you recommend?
I use 8 megapixel 4K, basically IP security cameras. And I have a few of those around the house, and I did some tests between some different brands and made a video, which is pretty popular, about, the best type I had in 2018. And I'm actually preparing of doing a new video for 2019 because I've got some new models, again from the Dahua, which are also 8 megapixel 4K, but they have a higher frame rate and a bigger sensor and stuff like that. So real IP camera stuff.
So what do you use to process all of the motion and some of those things? You have
I use a software NVR. I just run in a VM. It's called NX Witness. It's a bit less known because most people use Blue Iris, and although Blue Iris is fine, it didn't really how do you say that? Tickle my fancy, I guess. So I run NX Witness, and it has a desktop app and a mobile app, and it's able to handle the 8 megapixel cameras. And even I do one of the other things I do is big LAN party events. I do one event for 1,200 people, which is upcoming in April, and I do a bigger event for 2,500 people for 11 days in July. And for those events, I also use about 20 to 25 of those cameras. So yeah, that's another hobby.
What is that? What is that? You like LAN parties, like when we used to all get our Xboxes together and play Halo? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's like in April, there's 1,200 people who bring their PC, monitor, everything, and we go to a giant hall, and I'm one of the founders of that LAN party, and I do the technical stuff, so the network and internet and stuff like that. So we have 6 gigabit internet, and we have about, 110 gigabit ports, some 40 gigabit ports, and everyone gets their own dedicated gigabit port. and we can game. So,
Oh,
yeah.
look at this. So Frank says, "Hey, that's where I know you from, Quindor." That's
Oh,
so
you're
Frank
from.
must have
Oh, cool.
he must
Yeah.
have been there at
Okay.
some point. That's
That's me.
awesome. That's awesome. um, so there's a few questions that have come up that I wanted to bring up. Somebody was asking, Alian was asking about the ESP-eye, the camera on the 32. Have you had any experience with that? This new
Not yet.
little camera?
No.
Okay. I've only seen, and I think we talked to the guy at CES, the ESP, what do they call it? What's their ESPF something? I can't remember. But anyways, the ESP32 and 8266 maker folks, and he was talking about the camera. I tried to get one from Banggood, and then they told me, no, actually, we can't give it to you. And then the only person I've seen do a review so far, there's probably been more, but I saw BitLooney did something with it. So that's probably the place to see. That's probably all you're going to be able to find for now, Alian, about that. And then Paul had posted another question for us that said, about the Mosfets. Will asked, how do you make sure that the Mosfets have the right 3.3 gate fully open voltage? This information is missing from almost all listings. And I agree with him. I've had a hard time trying to buy Mosfets because they don't do a good job of saying, well, how much voltage can I put through the high voltage side? Or how much current can I put through the high side? How do you do it? How do you decide?
In designing the boards, I looked at gazillion data sheets.
Okay.
And I learned how to read them. And from that, I selected, I think about 10 types, and I ordered all of those, and then I tested all of those. And from those, I know which MOSFETs to use and which have more resistance and less resistance. For instance, if you check out this Deca, you'll see that one of the MOSFETs actually has a different color. That's because this was one of my testing boards, which has all kinds of different MOSFETs from different sellers on it. So I test those. I buy them from Aliexpress, and then I test them. And there's actually a little device you can use.
So the ESP32 camera is available now. So when I asked for it a few months ago, it wasn't yet, but maybe it is now. That's awesome. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah. Hold on.
Ooh, and they've even got it on sale at Banggood. Well, hot dog, let's all get them. I thought that when I watched BitLooney's thing, his issue, or what seemed to be the issue, was the refresh, or the frames per second is really low. It's something like 8 frames per second, which I guess is probably fine for most of us. But
so let me just show you a quick demonstration. I use this little thing nowadays. It's a lot easier than wasting a lot of boards.
Oh.
And this basically tells you the gate threshold voltage this particular MOSFET is triggering at fully. So I order a lot of MOSFETs regularly from all the suppliers I link in my articles. And then I change the listings if they're starting to send fake ones or bad ones or stuff like that. So for instance, this one was one from my 5-volt box, and it says a trigger voltage of 3.5. So it wouldn't fully trigger when soldered to a QuinLED. So this one wouldn't do. See, it's labeled 5 volts.
Liar.
And then I have another box, which ones that did work correctly. This is maybe getting a bit technical though, but yeah.
Where did
so
you
this
get that
one
circuit tester?
is saying 2.78 volts. So this would trigger fully at 3.3 volts. So this one is suitable. So
where did you get that tester? Somebody's asking.
Keep all the links updated, but
yeah, where did you get that tester? That's somebody's asking.
Well,
about.
You can guess it. Aliexpress.
Aliexpress. Do you have a link for that too on your site somewhere?
Not yet. I'll add it into the equipment page that's on there. I'll add it after the stream.
Awesome. And so when all that stuff you just said and testing all those MOSFETs, all I heard was, if I want to buy a MOSFET, I'm just going to see what Quindor has tested, and I'll buy something that he says. I'm not going to do all those tests myself.
The safest bet.
Yeah. I'm not going to do that myself. I that's what we have each other for.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, especially with the OG, I had the problem that sellers on AliExpress would send correct ones, and then after a month, when the orders would ramp up, they would start selling fake ones that didn't trigger at the correct voltage. So that's
Oh,
why I started testing them.
Malos. Okay, I'm gonna open up my sticker giveaway screen here. Let's do it. Giveaways. All right, and of course, there's nothing. I don't have. I mean, I guess I could do it. Anyways, why is it doing this right now? Let's not do this on the stream. All of a sudden, Nightbot like is not connected anymore, and I have to reconnect Nightbot. Okay. So here's the giveaways. Let's see. Really? Where's the giveaways? That's why I had it bookmarked, so I wouldn't have to redo this every time. Apparently now it's reset. Oh, there it is. There it is. Awesome. Okay, cool. All right. So we're gonna set this to 15 minutes. So we'll keep going here for 15 more minutes, and it's sticker time. If anybody wants to enter in for the stickers, get something in the chat. If you're on Twitch, I'm still biased against Twitch. That's not really true, but that's the way it seems because I don't have this thing set up to work with Twitch. But just like a lot of things, eventually someday I'll hopefully get to it. Somebody wants to call me with a question on Discord. Levy, if you want to ask a question right now. I'm going to tell them to ask it right now.
Oh, lots of sticker posts.
Good. Tons and tons and tons. And I'm behind on my sticker giveaways. Somebody said, one of my kids asked, "You gonna give some stickers away, Dad? Don't forget the stickers today." And I said, "That's right." And then I got like,
that's cool.
I think I got 5 or 6 people I owe stickers to. I got to get in the mail tomorrow. Chris Toffer's here. Charlie's here. So I didn't even get to see. Now I'm seeing everybody that's been watching the stream. I'm seeing their names pop up in the stickers list. So awesome. We want stickers.
Give me
what have
an
I
LED
missed?
strip.
What's that?
Oh,
give an LED
says,
strip.
I don't want stickers. I want an LED strip.
Okay,
you can buy cheap ones on AliExpress, but don't expect too much from them.
Yeah. How about I know this would be really not very nice. I could take a strip of LEDs, the individually programmable ones, and just clip them off and put them in the envelope with the stickers. How about that?
Yeah.
Then you get an LED strip. No.
No problem. That's multi-automation. So I could do the phone thing again because I wanted to show a new type of LED that's emerged from China. Or at least I wasn't known with them yet. See if this works. Oh, not my face. Switch.
Oh yeah, then
we're going to have a little bit of echo again. Let's see.
It's actually kind of a cool echo, though. It's not too bad. Yeah. Oh, you were gonna show the neon thing. Were you gonna show the neon thing?
Yeah. Where did I put that? I think it's this one. Yeah. So these are also 24-volt LED strips, but they're kind of housed in a how do you call that? They call it neon LED strip.
So cool.
Well, it's controlled using this little quad module here. So it has 3 of the 4 channels hooked up. But it's kind of new, and it gives a very even flow. It comes completely sealed like this, and you could use it outside. And the thing is that it's a completely bendable, and you can basically move it.
Write your name in cursive or something. I'm gonna have to check out that. That's cool.
Yeah, it's new kind of stuff. It's cool. So I showed you the garden lights. So this is a quad. It's a lot smaller, and then this is a Deca. It's a bit bigger, but well, if you need more channels, that's a good option. And I showed you the downlight and the garden light. Actually, this one, you see that little red dot in there?
Uh-huh.
I actually built in the QuinLED quad into the garden light. So it's
No
actually
way.
behind here.
Oh, that's awesome. Nice work.
Yeah.
Added to the shopping list, Ian says. Looks like a
Yeah,
rope light.
so
It
it's
does
a
look like a rope light. It looks
QuinLED,
super
it has a
flexible.
cable going into it, and it all comes from that power supply. And yeah, but this is kind of a little hack project. So yeah,
That's cool. That's cool. You know what?
you can call it.
That had me thinking there too. One of the we were talking about the uses, the GPIO pins. A great use for one of those GPIO pins would be a light sensitive resistor. You know, so you could have the
Yep.
lights sort of internally respond based on how much light there was outside. So it starts to get darker, the lights come
Yep.
on a little bit, and you just keep a steady light. So is that a
So
color
for people
changeable
who
or
don't know how RGB works, this is a good example. So it has a row of red, blue, and
That's cool.
green
You can see the
LEDs,
rows. Yeah, you can see the rows.
and you can basically mix any color, and it'll turn on separate, different amounts of those.
And these are salty. These are changeable. So these are the analog ones, not the individually
Yeah,
addressable
this is
ones.
still all analog. So this uses 3 channels.
Matheson says, "Can you buy one of those boards pre-assembled?" Quinn's not selling them pre-assembled, as I understand it. Is that true?
No, not yet. No.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
and one thing I wanted to show in Home Assistant, this is the garden light, for instance, but you can do this with an RGB strip or anything like that. If you look behind me, the whole show, you saw the changing lights, but I also have like a totally loco mode.
Here, let's
And
put
if
this
you look
back
at
on.
that, it just
Oh
does
wait, no.
you can program little effects and stuff like that. So yeah. Okay,
So that's cool.
switching
So
back
that's
to the
still
other
with a
camera.
full. That's still with the RGB analog kind
That's
of
still,
strips,
yeah, still
but you
all
just have an
analog
effect.
RGB.
Awesome. And
So
do you have your ESPHome files posted somewhere where people can see them? Because like I wouldn't be sure
yeah,
how to grab those effects, but you have that somewhere on your site if I
I
look
don't
around.
think the effects are in there yet. Let's see, pin out and wiring. Programming for Home Assistant. Yeah, no, the example program I made doesn't have RGB or effects in it yet.
Okay. Well,
Um,
put that on your
but
to-do
I
list.
can do a write up about that sometime. That's fine. Yeah.
That'll be nice because I mean for me and I guess ESPHome's not been around that long, maybe 6 months
No.
or 8 months or
Yeah.
something like that, and it's really just starting to really make it to those of us, myself
Yeah.
included, basic users, and so we're still learning how to put all that stuff together. So that'd be helpful. Somebody's asking about that case. Is it waterproof? I'm sure it is. It's a garden light, right? So it's supposed to go outside. So
Yeah.
it's a
Well, I wanted to show this as an example for RGB. I'm not sure this is really kind of a hack. So in theory, it's waterproof and stuff like that. But I kind of take out the AC to DC power supply and feed in DC myself. So I'm not sure you'd still be able to use it outside. I guess if you did some work on it, but yeah.
caulking fixes everything. He just cocked the heck out of that sucker.
Yeah.
It'll work just fine. All right, I think we're ready for our first. I think we're ready for our first sticker giveaway here, and I got Dawson here with me in his PJs. All right, let's do sticker giveaway. Here's your last. Get you 30 more seconds to say something in chat if you want a sticker. And here we're gonna put it over here. Don't want to block Quindor's face, but we're gonna do it here. And ready, set. You want to click it, Dawson? Click the button here. Roll it.
Roll it.
Hell style or Hilly style. All right. Congratulations. You got some stickers and a couple of LEDs. How about that? I think I do have some strips I might be able to chop up and give you a few LEDs. All right. Should we do another one?
Sure.
Let's do at least another one. Let's do 3 this time. We'll do this one and we'll do one more.
Roll it.
Roll it again. Louis. All right. Congratulations. You win. Sticker time. One more, Dawson. Do one more sticker time. Oh, Sitendra. Awesome. He's been around for a long time. Well, fantastic. All right. Congratulations, fellas. Make sure you message me in Discord if you want to get the stickers. I need your address. Okay. And
Oh, they're going
Anything
sticker
else?
again. Well, I think they're too late.
Too late. Oh, you know what? Because I said we'd do it in 30 seconds, and there's probably a delay. So I said that, and then
Yeah.
didn't give him any time to actually do it. So, all right. So, guys, I know that there's still questions, and people still have stuff that they want to chat about. You can keep this going in the Discord live, and Quindor, you have a Discord as well, right? Do we have a link
do.
for that? Okay.
Yeah, I guess so. On the most QuinLED videos, there is a link.
Okay.
But let me see if I can spam a link in the chat. Invites.
Ian's. When you say that, Ian, when I need Home Assistant to pick a name, do you mean my Mycroft Home Assistant? That was a fun stream. Quindor, thanks for being here. That was fantastic.
Sure, no problem.
Appreciate it. Super appreciate the work you've done. I mean, you have saved all of us a tremendous amount of time and effort and made it so easy to have something super cool. So thank you very much. Chop up a... Okay. No way, Paul. I want that for myself. Dude, not that generous. Paul said, chop up that strip he sent me and send it to all the ends of the earth. But no, I like that.
No. People need to buy their own strip. But, yeah.
I'll send. I've got a few out. That'll be fun since this was a LED based. I can put a couple of LEDs in the envelope. That's easy enough. So, all right, Dawson, do you want to get the monkeys for sign out?
I just want to say
Go
thanks
ahead.
for
Yes.
having
Anything
me
else?
and letting me do my story and show my stuff. And
You bet.
it was fun. And if anyone has any questions, just come to the Discord and ask them there. And check out QuinLED.info. And maybe when the digital series gets released, we can do this again.
For sure. And maybe we'll do something with cameras, since you have the information on cameras. That would be good to have you for that.
I actually have custom scripts how to make time lapses from IP cameras and all kinds of stuff. So yeah.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay. I'm gonna unplug you, Quinn, so I'm not gonna be able to hear you.
Okay.
All right. You ready, guys? Thanks everybody for watching. Here we go.
As always, thanks for watching. Until next time,
Adios, everybody. Thanks a bunch. Quindor, thanks again, my friend.
Adios.
Take care. Oh, there's Zach for a little bit late. Adios. All right, fellas. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.
Okay.